Afternoon, and thank you for joining us once again on Dojo Live, connecting with tech experts like you. My name is Kim Lantis, broadcasting live from my home this time in Hermosillo, Sonora, Mexico. Joining me is my teammate, Carlos Ponce, from his
Hi.
home
Yep.
in Mexico City. Um, the benefits of a company that allows you to work from home, right?
Well, you have
Um,
to consider, Kim, that we were kind of on the lookout for an earthquake today. So,
and I've got a storm coming through, and
yeah,
schools are
yeah,
closed. So hey, there's no such thing as global warming. Um, Today, we'll be talking about the future of voice on user interface. Today's guest postulates the question of: we use keyboards, mouse, and touch to interact with software applications. So why not use voice? Here to talk more about this is Stephen Mallik. Hi, Stephen,
Hello.
CEO of ArtiE.ai. Welcome to DojoLIVE, Stephen.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you. Thank you for your time today. So, Stephen, if you could please get us started by telling us a bit more about yourself, your background, and ultimately how that led you to Artie.
Oh, well, I am an entrepreneur and I have started companies before, but this time I wanted to do something that I had a passion for, not just for money. And I have wanted to do something with all the experience I have. I have about 20 years in software. So this is about coming together with my experience and my passion. And I worked hard the last 3 years to put this together with my core team of hardworking people. So here we are. We have a technology that allows anyone to talk to their software to access the information or whatever that software does. So.
Okay, so I was just going to ask you what gave birth to the idea behind your product and what it was that the problem it is that you are trying to solve. So, if you would like to answer that for us a bit
Yeah,
more than
so
you already did.
we basically solve two things. One is software development itself. Well, if you see, software development requires a separate team for different devices. We are trying to solve that by having one code base, but it works natively on different environments, which means Alexa as well as Google Home, to cloud or Android and mobile apps, right? And that's one problem. And the next problem is we have been introduced to a new interface called voice because of the advances of Alexa and Google Home, and now we are all used to that. So now, how do we apply that for the enterprise world, right? Enterprise software is not voice enabled yet, and it seems like an obvious problem that we can access data and information even for enterprise and business application using voice. So it seems like the next possible step, right? So.
Very cool. It's our understanding that you have sort of like a demo and some videos that you'd like to share with us that can best explain this.
Yes. So behind me is basically a TV screen. I projected my computer onto that, and what we have is basically a website. It is our website that is voice enabled. So I want to show that, hey, even something like a website can be voice enabled. So, and the way we use this is to market our product. So I'm going to actually introduce already using our own website. So usually
Okay.
you browse the website using, touch, keyboard, mouse, whatever way you prefer right now. Today, I'm going to do that just by talking to it. All
Oh,
right.
that's fun. So, if anybody who's watching us today wanted to go to that website to play around with the voice themselves, what website would that be?
I can post that location because this is not our main website. This is, or they could go under products and there's something called Voice Web, and there's a link for that, and they can.
Okay.
And right now it only works on Chrome Mac as well as Chrome on a PC, but we'll be launching iOS and Android soon.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to kind of step aside so you can see the screen
Sure.
fully. I'm going to try and introduce the product. So this is the landing page. So there's a video. I'm going to start playing that. Play video.
What is voice intelligence?
Is the audio good enough?
Yes, I was able to understand it. Carlos?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it came through loud and clear.
Yeah. Okay. So it is actually. I mean, I'm going to skip that because the first part of it says what is voice intelligence is activating it, which that means it is again starting to play itself.
It's like, oh, I have a question to answer.
Yeah, I know. So let's skip that. Now let's go to introduce ArtiE.
Cool.
Introduce ArtiE.
ArtiE is a platform for developing voice intelligent applications. For an example voice intelligent application, please watch the video. ArtiE has all the technology layers to create an end-to-end voice-enabled application solution, like natural language database, cognitive middleware, single code multi-device user interface.
Play video. Today we're going to look at a simple IVR example of a user trying to view his bank account information. I will be having a conversation with my browser for that. Here we go. I would like to see my bank account details.
Please provide your username and password.
Okay.
Here is the bank account summary.
Show me the checking account details.
Here is the details of your checking account.
Did John's check clear?
The last check cleared by John was 2 days back.
Show me all the checks to John in the last 6 months.
Here is the details of John's check clear history for last 6 months.
Okay, thank you. Log out now.
Successfully logged out.
That concludes the demo. Thank you. What does ArtiE stand for?
ArtiE stands for Artificial Intelligence for the Enterprise.
So I'm from South India, so I'm going to change the accent to an Indian accent.
Oh, okay.
Change accent to Indian English.
Okay, accent change to Indian English.
I know.
It's not funny, but it's impressive.
Yes.
I can't help it. It makes me happy.
Yeah, it's a hit with the audience all the time. So. What are the uses of ArtiE? What are the uses of ArtiE?
Business can leverage their existing technical resource to transform the capabilities of their software and enhance their ability to serve their customers better. Developers can use ArtiE to create voice intelligent applications for the IoT, IVR, e-commerce, and marketing industries. Using ArtiE's natural language capability, developers can build and deploy sophisticated applications quickly without intense training. End users have the delight of using a futuristic application without the need to use traditional input methods like keyboard, mouse, or touch. RT voice intelligence is revolutionary, like when the mouse was introduced 20 years back.
Go to technology. So let me explain, take a few more minutes to explain what the technology and show a little bit around, and then we'll jump to questions, all right?
Sure.
What is natural language database?
NLP database or natural language processing database is similar to a traditional database. The main difference is that we use English sentence to create, update, and query the dataset. Because the interface is English, both developers and non-developers will find it easy to learn and use. The information is stored as knowledge, using object-oriented concepts.
What is cognitive middleware?
Cognitive middleware is the brain behind ArtiE that enables the natural language understanding capabilities. It consists of signal processor, intent server, various learning methods like meta, complex sentence, and instruction-based learning.
Tell me about the user interface.
ArtiE uses innovative technology that uses the knowledge learned by the system to generate an optimal and customizable user interface for a given device. The user interface generated by ArtiE will work on multiple platforms including iOS, Android, Windows, Mac, Alexa, Google Home.
Go to developers. So what I want to do is give a feel of what RD is, and we kind of covered those parts. And just to say that this is, in that product, we do have a studio to build the software. We have, we can build IoT solutions. It works on Alexa and Google Home. It has SDKs for developers to extend and all that integration and everything. So it is a full-fledged platform, right? So that's what I wanted to show. And next, let me show you what can we build, right? I want to show some example solutions that we have built. So let me show that. Go to solutions. What is voice web?
You are currently experiencing voice web. Use voice web to create websites that can interact using voice. Change the perception of your brand. Provide your customers with a better way to reach, learn about and interact with your products, solutions, and services.
What is voice display?
Now you can talk to your Signage device. Thanks to Voice Display, a signage solution by ArtiE, your customers can now learn more about your products and services by talking with the Signage device.
All right, so I have come to the end of whatever I wanted to show. So now let's switch to the Q&A part. I'm going to actually switch on the Signage so that it keeps running. So the last two things were built using ArtiE, right? Those are some of the solutions that we learned from the industry and quickly built that. But it has uses in IoT and many other fields, including SaaS applications, mobile applications, so ordering, e-commerce, and stuff like that. So this is one of the projects we built for one of our clients. This is what do you call that? A signage, right? And people can walk into a store and say, in this case, go to basketball.
Here are the details.
And you can choose color. There are so many products and do that. Just kind of gives an examples. And usually people would talk to a screen and then they would just walk away, right? Then if that happens, it'll go back to what it was doing. So that's the idea of signage.
I really like that. Oh,
yes.
hearing myself.
Yeah, so now, people just walked out. So it knows, okay, let me go back to my being pretty state, right? Attracting the crowd.
That's really fun.
Yeah.
Is anybody else hearing me? I have some playback. It's kind of weird. But it reminds me a little bit of the movie Minority Report, I think, where he walks around and there's the facial recognition and then the advertisements like adjust to who he is. But I like this idea. So I could come into this signage, to this advertisement, pick a category, ask for colors, for sizes, for discounts, sales, whatever that might be.
Yeah, exactly.
So one of the questions I had was, I'm unclear. Is there a difference between natural language processing and natural language understanding? I didn't catch that.
Yes, I recently read an article on that where one person has written saying that NLU, which is natural language understanding, is not NLP++, which is natural language, right? He had his own argument and all that. The way I look at it is slightly different. NLP is mostly about classification, right? whereas NLU is about getting to some action, right? So the way we have done this is we went about looking at where can I use NLP the best and where can I use NLU the best, right? So that means obviously both are totally different, right? So we found that the power of NLP, right, is in the database part. So where when you are creating a data structure, you could use that power there, right? So
Okay.
we created a database using NLP, right? Now that now the middleware part is where the action, the logic, or whatever needs to happen, right? So there we thought the NLU fits in really well, where you take some English sentence and you are ready to act on it based on what is being said, right? So we use both in our product. So the database is driven by NLP, while the middleware is driven by the NLU, Natural Language Understanding, right? So we get the advantage of scale because of a database, as well as the advantage of the NLU being able to act or do something useful based on NLU. Usually, NLUs don't run out of a database, so that scaling or adding a lot of data is always a challenge. So we wanted to address that. So
Okay, that was very well explained. Thank you. Even someone like me who is developing and technology challenged was able to understand that. Thank you very much. So my next question was, for example, as you were going through your interaction, I noticed that you needed to, or it seemed that you needed to um, construct like your directions or your questions in a certain manner,
yeah,
because so is that something that we could consider a limitation or not? Because I also understood that, or saw that the interface was not confusing, like when you would pause and you would talk to us like, oh, now I'm going to do this or I'm going to ask this or whatever. um it seemed as though it was able to sort of distinguish between when you were talking to Carlos and I, the audience, and when you were giving a directive. So is this something that users would have to also learn, or
uh,
as a current limitation, or what do you see for the future of that?
yeah. So I think this is a two-part question. First, let me answer the limitation part, right?
Okay.
The limitation is more on the interface design, right? If you go to Google, there's just one search line and you type anywhere, anything you want, right? Versus, let's say you go into same thing, Google email, right? There are specific buttons that do specific things, right? So what I showed you were two versions which were not inherently uh, built with voice in mind, right? So it's menu based, and we are trying to impose voice on top of it, right? So it is exhibiting some of the qualities of the menu based system, right? So that's what the limitation is. So it's more of a design thing. So another design challenge we have is how does the user know what to ask, right? And again, I'm coming from an engineering background. These are questions for someone like a UX designer, right?
Right.
They would need to go back and think totally differently out of the box and come up with something totally that is built with voice in mind. So same thing, like we used to have websites with laptops and PCs in mind. Then we started having websites that are more focused on mobile devices. And if we didn't have it, those websites didn't work really well on mobile devices. It's the same thing, right? We need to rethink design, UX design in terms of voice. So that is one limitation. So, right, it's more of a UX design limitation. So the next question, where when I was talking to you, right, it's still listening right now. The reason it's not acting on it is because um, it knows that I'm not talking to it, right? So this is a very, very key feature for voice to be successful in real life business cases, right? Where you want it to be always listening, not based on a wake word, but really always listening, right? I don't want to wake up something and say something, but I want to just say it. That's how real life works, right? And let's say if I'm ordering pizza, right? I say I want this, this, this. Then I turn around and ask my kids or my wife, whoever, hey, what do you want? It should know the difference between, hey, I'm not talking to it, right?
Uh-huh.
So, and at the same time, it shouldn't give me a few, like 15-second time, right? Before, if I don't talk within that time, it should not shut it off, which is what happens in the consumer voice devices, right?
Okay.
Right. So, yeah, so that's the second part of the answer where it needs to be always listening, but only act when it should know when to act, kind of, right?
Right.
So,
Is it able to hear me now? Like, can I play with it?
yeah, you should, if you can see one of the menu items, you can say,
Sure.
go to that menu item. Try it.
Go to running. Do I have to speak louder?
Try once again. I don't know what happened.
Go to running. If I have to fake an Indian accent, it's not going to work out very good.
No, I didn't see, I didn't see it listening. You might want to.
Okay. Carlos, why don't you try? Maybe it's my voice. My husband tells me I can have a squeaky, squawky voice sometimes.
That should work. So maybe the mic might be busy listening to the noise or whatever. I don't know what it is hearing.
Okay. Carlos, you give it a shot.
Yeah, I can give it a try. Here it is. Go to running.
Please find the details below.
Like Carlos better.
I tried.
Well, something happened, right?
Carlos, find me pink shoes.
Oh, so what do I say? How do I go about doing that? Like, so I say just find me pink shoes or what?
Again, this, as I said, this is more of a design, right?
Okay.
So what we did was took, this is a menu-based system initially. We took that and tried to add voice to it, right? So in the menu-based system, you have to click on the color. So you say pink color and it'll go there, right? So now when you think voice as the base for the design, then you would think like as
Okay.
as
so that's
right?
where the UX needs to come in.
Yes. So this is
I would
more,
naturally say find me pink shoes. I wouldn't say
yes,
pink shoes.
yes,
Right?
yes,
Okay.
yes. So that is more of a UX design. This one is just a voice overlay on an existing menu-based system. So I don't think this is really showing the power of voice on for
Okay.
UX. So.
Oh, Kim, I'm sorry to interrupt, Kim, but we do have a question coming from one of our guys right here at MuleSoft. He says, and I'm just going to read it as is. This is from Misael, by the way, and you know who he is, right, Kim? Yeah, so he says all things product and product design. He says, Misael is asking, considering that AI is a relatively new thing, and he uses quotes, quote unquote, in the tech space, how do you go about validating new features and functionalities in such a fast-paced market? That's his question.
All right. So in terms of the business need, or so
he didn't explain. He just, but I would assume, I'm asking, but I would assume that it's related to the platform itself, features and functionalities, because Misael is from our product design department. So I am assuming that he's referring to the features and functionalities of ArtiE, I would assume. I'm just waiting for him to respond.
Yeah,
that's his question.
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand the question pretty well, but I can answer from a perspective of the user need, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one example here from a need perspective is when we showed this technology to the display industry, they saw that we could reduce cost in terms of the touch screen. So usually a percentage of these signage devices are interaction enabled, right? Where you could touch and interact and get information. And that means those devices carry a $200 extra cost for the touch interface, right?
Okay.
With voice, you don't need that. That's one. And secondly, they're always trying to figure out a way to enhance the user experience, and they see voice is an obvious and a natural fit for this. So that is one example, right? But then in general, our customers, right, our focus customers is people wanting to build something new. It could be a website or IoT solution, an app, SaaS, whatever it is. They're trying to build something new, but they want to build it quickly via the cloud application. They want to build it only once, but want it to run everywhere with an added advantage of voice. So that would define our ideal client base, right? So I don't know if I answered the question, but I answered it from a business perspective. If it is more on a technical side, I would need more clarifications.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Stephen. Well, he's listening right now, so I'm just going to wait for him to get back to me here on our internal channel. So, yep. Kim, back to you, Kim.
Sorry, had a real life interruption.
Oh, okay.
I'm back. I'm like, there was a knock on my door. I was like, oh.
Oh, no problem at all. We understand.
So I wanted to go back. I was a bit intrigued. I really liked how you were able to change the accent. Not only so when you changed the accent, it was changing what it was able to recognize as well as its way of replying.
No. The way it listens is totally different from the way it replies, right? So from the changing the accent perspective, look at it only as, hey, when you go to a website, you're able to change from one language to the other. So what you see is in a different language, the content is the same. So this is similar to that. It is not changing the way it would listen in any shape or form. Right. So this is more of a customer appealing thing, because if you are from, let's say you are from London and you hear a British accent, it'll feel good. It'll feel better for you. Right. So that was the idea behind that feature.
Okay, thank you. So let's go back a little bit then. I think this falls in the language processing area, talking about accents. For example, it seemed that Carlos' voice, for whatever reason, was able to be picked up better than my own. I know, for example, when I first think of like natural language processing, even going back like what, 20 years, maybe 15, 20, where you have these customer service menus, right? You call this 1-800 number and it says, please state the numbers on your credit card or whatever it might be. And I would always, and maybe it's just my voice, you get the, I'm sorry, did you say yes? And I'm like, yes! So how, I mean, I know we've come a long way from that, of course, over the years, but how do you get over this confusion, I guess, to guarantee that the machine is able to understand me?
Yeah, so in those days, they did not have natural language understanding or the advancements of that, right? That's one thing. Plus voice processing itself, which is converting a voice into a text format of what you said, right? That part was not advanced. So because of machine learning, that part is now being taken care in a mass scale by all these big companies, right? Because they have these products like Siri, Alexa, Google Home running on those things, right? So, but it has its own advantage and disadvantage. I'll come to that later. But so that problem is solved, and it is available as a commodity, right? Meaning API costing nothing, right? So that gives rise to products like ArtiE, where we go and use that, right? The next, when you combine that along with the NLU advances, natural language understanding, right? We have our own natural language understanding platform that we came up with, but then for reasons of scaling, because the natural language understanding available on the cloud does not work on a database. Ours works on top of an NLP database, right? But then if you do not want, I mean, if you, but the point is, it is available on the as APIs, right, at scale. So when you combine these, that's when the error rate really drops to however you want. And these are just two things. There are other things like fuzzy logic and other corrections that needs to be applied. Everyone does this. The reason Google Home or Amazon works is because of all these things I'm just saying. And we have the same thing again built into our layers. Without these, it will not work. But then everyone has a disadvantage. I'm coming back to that point of disadvantages. There is about a 2-second lag, because what happens is when we say something, it is transferred to the net, and there's these gigantic servers that crunch them and get back to you on what is being said. That lag, everyone has it, includes Siri to Google Home to Amazon, right? So that is why you cannot talk to a system like I would talk to you, all right? It's not fluent. There's a pause, right? So that part can be overcome if we are starting to process it within our server, our computer, right? And that's the direction we are going, because we are able to do it because our solution space is very a simple per problem. For example, this application needs to understand only a few things, right?
Right.
So
Or,
about, yes.
or in the example you had in your video, it was like some bank accounts, some checks, or something like that. So
Yes.
the information that it needs to search is a much
Yes.
smaller scale than all of the World Wide Web.
Yes. So that is the advantage we have over Google Home and Alexa, where you go ask anything. So we will be able to get that going soon, so that in our system, it'll become very natural, like you talking to me, the quickness and all that. So we'll get there soon.
And those next steps of the UX, the UI are very interesting to me. I think that's what really would take it to this next level of making it just that natural.
Yes, yes. Artist needs to come to the rescue.
Yes. Very good. So it's my understanding that ArtiE is specifically a product, a tool for developers, right? To help them build voice intelligent applications. So how much of this interest or this need have you seen develop? You said you've been working on your product for 3 years, is that correct?
Yes.
And is this interest just steadily climbing? Do you see any plateauing, or what's the future hold?
We have not launched. So
Okay.
what we are doing is, for reaching out to a developer, you need to have some basic set of features, right? Like a studio where they could go and develop. They would like a UI where it'll be easy to create things and all that. Those are not yet launched or available yet, right? So that'll take a couple of months. So, but meanwhile, we are able to develop using our software. It's just that we have to do a lot of things manually. So we right now using that time to actually build solutions like the ones you see. So right now, so what we are doing is basically knocking at one customer at a time and trying to build these solutions and learning and trying to make it faster. So today, it took a month to build that, so next time it'll be 2 weeks because we automated and put in tools for that. Then it'll be 1 week. So we're trying to get to a point where it's just 2 days to develop an application, right?
Wow, that's a really cool goal.
Yeah. So and we will be able to achieve it within 4 months, and then that is when we think we are ready to get into the developer world. And it is a long game. Just to get to maybe even 20,000 developers, it will take a couple of years. They are a demanding community, and and they would challenge you in every way. And so it is a challenge. So till then, we will have to take the approach of solution consulting, right? As at the same time, focus on the developers. So.
Well, that sounds like you have thought about the future and you have a solid plan. Congratulations for that. And I congratulate you also, Stephen, for following your passion, as you said.
All right,
I
thank you.
really wish you the best of luck. I think it's very exciting. I had a lot of fun today. Thank you for sharing your passion with us. We're coming to the end of our time together today. So I was wondering, Stephen, if you had any final words of wisdom or anything else you'd like to share with our audience today.
Well, if you guys find this interesting and want to see this come to fruition, just reach out and see how we can work together, right, on this technology. I think the voice is the future. There's no reason why we should still see that people talk to devices and software or whatever only on sci-fi movies, right? We are the sci-fi movie now. We should start expecting that we talk to everything. Like babies today want to swipe on everything, right?
Oh,
And
yes.
yeah, it's like that. We need to expect that. Hey, why can't I talk to any device, like the camera I'm talking to, the laptop, whatever? I need to expect that, right? That's the goal.
Very good. Thank you very much. So the invitation of reaching out, is there anything that's open source that you ask that help, or where people can get involved?
Yeah, I mean, for the developers, it is open source, but the solutions are not. Like, for example, we have a website tool or a tool to build the signage thing. Those are solutions we put together, but the core product itself is open source.
Oh, well, that's exciting. I think that will appeal to a lot of us Nearsoftians. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Well, that's the end of our time together. Stephen Mallik, everybody, CEO of ArtiE.ai. Congratulations again, Artie. Carlos?
Well, again, the only thing left for me to do, Stephen, is just to send you a big, heartfelt, warm thank you for having been with us today. And I'm sure our audiences are going to find our conversation with you not only educational but intriguing about the AI space, because it's, at least for us non-engineers, it's always way more than intriguing, so to speak. It would be an understatement. So we're going to keep an eye on your continued success, and we look forward to watching it skyrocket and be part of it. Without further ado, I'm just going to say goodbye for now. And just real quick, a quick announcement about next week. And before we let you go, I just want to remind the audience that next week, precisely the same day, Wednesday, we are going to have, let's see who we're having as a guest. We're going to be speaking with Mike Volpe, the CEO of Lola.com, which is a travel technology company. We still don't have the topic, but we look forward to speaking with Mike. Again, it's about travel tech. Lola.com, it's a travel technology platform. And just keep an eye for that on dojo.nearself.com. And that's all I have. Stephen, again, thank you for having me with us.
Thank you, Kim and Carlos, for the opportunity. And Carlos, you reached out to me specifically on this on the phone. Thank you for that.
Absolutely. Will do. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
Bye-bye,
Bye,
guys.
everybody.